Welcome back to tonight's international friendly between Canada and the United States, presented by Panasonic Vieira. 0-0 the half-time score. Let's head down to the side of the field. Kyle Martino is with Jurgen Klinsmann.
Thanks, Arlo. Jurgen, what are your thoughts on the first half?
Well, I think we did okay. Obviously, they didn't create anything. We need to push it a bit more. We need to get kind of behind their fullbacks on the outsides to create more crosses. I think, you know, now with a little bit of tailwind and not the sun in our eyes anymore, I think hopefully we create more chances.
Now, Clint Dempsey was dropping really deep into the midfield. Is that something you've asked him to do, or do you want him to stay a little higher?
No, obviously the higher the better because he's closer to goal. But he also needs to move around to get more confidence on the ball, to get his touches, and we need to find him earlier. So he's coming back now from his longer injury, and it takes a little while for him to get in rhythm. So hopefully now he's warmed up, and he does that in the second half even more.
Thanks, Jurgen.
You're welcome.
Arlo?
Thank you, Kyle. Jurgen Klinsmann in good form at half-time. Back underway then. At BMO Field in Toronto, Canada. The Centennial game for the Canadian Soccer Association. We await the first goal of the evening. In baseball terms, or sporting terms, it's already Canada 1, USA 0 today. Toronto Blue Jays beating the Boston Red Sox 5-1 in front of 41,000 at the Rogers Centre earlier. Down to the soccer players to bring it level. Haino puts Hirschfeld in a little bit of a spot there. Hercules Gomez was the man hoping to charge it down. Castillo. No substitutions for either side. 6 permitted per side during the game. There'll be a flurry of activity later on, I'm sure. Goodson. Cherundolo. Michael Bradley dropping very deep again to collect the ball off his back four. There's Clint Dempsey once again. Look at that inside his own half. It's given away by Bradley. Johnson White to Edgar. Cross comes in, is a decent one. Ocean was the closest Canadian striker to it. Resplendent in their blue jerseys, which they wore in the first meeting between these two sides in 1925 in Montreal. If you're wondering why blue, well, it was a prominent colour in the Canadian coat of arms, which was on their national red ensign flag at the time. They didn't adopt the maple leaf flag until 1965, so history lesson over for the day. Ball clearance by Hirschfeld. Dwayne De Rosario. Ocean was trying to hold the ball up. Clarence Goodson has been on good form today. Bocanegra. Michael Bradley again. Looks long this time towards Landon Donovan. It's too strong. Carl, you've had a chat with Dwayne De Rosario about the non-goal in the first half. What did he say?
Well, I caught him in the tunnel as we were walking out. I noticed he had that conversation with the linesman, and he said he asked the linesman what he was calling. The linesman took a beat as if he was thinking about it, and then said it was a foul. And then Dwayne De Rosario said on who, and the linesman didn't have a name or didn't have a number for him, and Dwayne De Rosario was right there and said he didn't see anything, and it didn't seem like the linesman was too sure of it.
So definitely a foul from the assistant referee. A phantom foul, I think it's fair to say. What's been lost in all of that is the quality of the finish by Nick Ledgerwood. It really was a good goal for the Canadians, but it's been chalked off. 0-0 the score. Here is De Rosario. Having his ankles peppered by Landon Donovan fairly, though. The low cross comes in towards Gomez. Cleared by Haino. De Rosario again. Ricketts has Castillo. He's got Ocean to aim for in the penalty area. Ricketts may go all the way. Cross comes in. And it's between Ricketts, Ocean and the goal. But once he'd made that space in the penalty area, Ricketts, he may have had a shot on Tim Howard's goal, but he decided in the end to try and find Ocean in the penalty area.
Well, there's that pace, and with the wind causing balls to sit up a little bit, that's the pace that's going to give the United States a lot of problems. And look at the separation. Takes a long touch, and looks up, he's trying to find that little hole, and it shows up for a second, but the ball off the ground is going to be a difficult one for his partner to not in. If he could have slotted that in on the ground, maybe Ocean would have had a chance at it.
Ricketts plays for a club called Timișoara in the Romanian 2nd Division. De Rosario, full of energy. Jazic available on his outside, the 36-year-old. One or two sloppy balls by Dwayne De Rosario in the final couple of minutes or so. Bradley finds Dempsey. Dempsey trying to get as many touches as he possibly can. Jürgen Klinsmann, as you heard it before the start of the second half, would like him a little bit higher. Understands that he's trying to get as many touches to work his way back into fitness, to get the feel for the game after a couple of weeks out. He's been training this week. He was on the bench. He played 35 minutes against Brazil. He missed Fulham's final Premier League game of the season against Tottenham Hotspurs, a London derby. Maybe that's his final, or would have been his final appearance for Fulham. Lots of talk about a potential move to a Champions League club. De Rosario on the end of that header from Jazic. Jermaine Jones. Castillo bombing on the left-hand side, but Jones trying to thread it into Dempsey. Castillo's having to scamper back. De Rosario. Will Johnson. Goodson up ahead of him. Good challenge by Steve Cherundolo. American Outlaws, American fans in full voice behind Tim Howard's goal here at BMO Field. Jazic with the throw. De Rosario getting plenty of touches in the early stages of the second half. Jazic again floats one in. Header comes in, possibilities here for Canada. Ricketts challenging with Jones. Ricketts wins this battle of strength that time. Edgar dinks it into the area towards Ocean. Goodson with the header clear. Guzman was waiting for that one to drop. It was Jermaine Jones who beat him to it, and now Torres. Furthest man forward, Hercules Gomez. Clint Dempsey gets inside. Jones, bit of space, works it out to the right to Donovan. Even more space. Donovan towards the back post. Header comes in. It was from Jones, and it hit the thighs of David Edgar, 6 yards out. Best moments of the second half so far for the United States.
Well, quick in transition, changing the point of attack. Didn't see a lot of this from the United States in the first half. That's a great ball out to Landon Donovan. Fantastic delivery, far post, and Jermaine Jones just trying to nod that back to Clint Dempsey. Good defensive shifting there from Canada to see that one out.
Michael Bradley. Cherundolo earning his 82nd cap today. Goodson again, the 30-year-old. Bocanegra. That'll be cut out by Dwayne De Rosario. Cherundolo was the intended target of that Jones pass. Now Michael Bradley. Donovan, head on a swivel, realizes he had a little bit of space, rolls the ball to Dempsey. Torres, Dempsey, like a Rolls-Royce gliding forward. Castillo into the box. Dempsey, it's just over his head. Haino with the header clear. Hand up from Michael Bradley. That'll be enough for a handball.
Well, this is what you want Clint Dempsey to do. Drop back, make the play, create it, get someone that space out wide, and immediately trails into the box. And this ball is just a little too high for him. That's a foot higher. That's perfect timing for him to come in and get on the end of that. And Clint Dempsey's so good at starting the play, but when he stays high, he can start the play and be the one to get in the box to finish it off as well.
Haino at centre-back, the number 5 in your picture. Normally a full-back with the Houston Dynamo. And on the American side of things, Kyle, Edgar Castillo's had an interesting afternoon. He's been ever willing to get forward. He had a spectacular 40-yarder tipped over by Hirschfeld. How do you assess his performance today, bearing in mind that if Fabian Johnson's injured, then there may be a bit of trouble at left-back for the United States?
Well, it's been a little shaky at times. He's looked a little uncomfortable with the ball when he's been pressured. And a foul right in front of my booth.
Arm across from Haino on Jermaine Jones. And a yellow card for the Houston Dynamo man, born in Quebec.
Well, the grass is a little drier now. Watch this ball check up. Haino thinks it's going to skip, and he's going to get an opportunity at it. Misjudges that one. Jermaine Jones is in behind him. Had to make the foul at that point, take the yellow card.
So Landon Donovan will leave this free kick to Jose Torres. Places the ball down very deliberately.
Around 5 feet behind behind Torres. Right behind the ball. Great view of where he's going to curl this in. A little gap.
Left-footed, very flat delivery. The header comes in and it's just over the crossbar. Carlos Bocanegra, very close. He got himself into a good position against Brazil, didn't he, Carl, the other night, and put it over.
Well, he needs to catch this a little thin. Gets too much contact on that. He wants this just to glance off of his head, and you can see he gets all of that one. He has plenty of arms on him. McKenna holding him the whole way, but just too much contact. Sends the ball over the crossbar.
Bocanegra with the header, penalised for a foul on Ocean, who stays on the ground, just rubbing in the top of his head by the looks of things. 12 goals in Bocanegra's international career. Ocean's back up. Ever present in this series, Carlos Bocanegra. Here's de Guzman, free kick taken quickly. Ricketts, he's got Edgar on the overlap. De Guzman, left-footed cross towards Ocean. Header clear by Goodson, more work to do for Jones and for Donovan. Not fully clear from the United States, headed back in by Jazic. Goodson was tall and strong when he needed to be against Ocean there. Haino, Will Johnson, flips it forward. Opportunity here for Canada, but it's Michael Bradley who gets a foot in. Wayne De Rosario was lurking on the edge of the penalty area. Here's Dempsey again. Torres. Luis Gomez making a run towards the penalty spot. Canada defence just steps up, leaves him momentarily offside. It's going to be a throw in to the USA as we approach the 57-minute mark here. Beautiful evening in Toronto, Canada. Final warm-up game for the USA ahead of their World Cup qualifiers. Goodson, Cherundolo getting forward. It's off De Rosario last, and it's a sixth corner of the match. Landon Donovan will take it.
They haven't been able to get Cherundolo up the field often, those overlapping runs.
Donovan still bouncing around in the Canada penalty area. Will Johnson with the clearance. Cherundolo. The big men have stayed forward here for the United States. Castillo, they'll have a decision to make here soon if the ball doesn't get into the danger zone. Goodson is calling for it. Bocanegra has dropped back, and here he is. Goodson will follow suit on your screen now. Cherundolo. Donovan. Too short. Jazic able to collect it and give it to Dwayne De Rosario. De Guzman.
Landon Donovan stayed very wide this game. You see him tuck in a lot, try to find the play in the middle, open up that outside channel for Steve Cherundolo to get forward, but he's been very wide and stayed wide.
Tidy from Ledgerwood. On the right-hand side is Tosan Ricketts, twisting and turning. Castillo able to get in there. Now it's Donovan defending. Now Clint Dempsey. Torres. Approaching the 60-minute mark where you would imagine the substitutions would begin here in this international friendly. Dwayne De Rosario stayed true to his instructions tonight on the left-hand side. Stephen Hart, the coach, a little frustrated that he didn't go back out to Jazic on the left-hand side there, who made a super run from left back. And here he is, gets the ball from Johnson this time. De Rosario approaching the penalty area. Cross comes in, Ledgerwood making a late run. Castillo with the header into the night sky. Sam Howard able to collect. Nicely worked by Canada. Ledgerwood, the man, denied that goal in the first half. Here's Jones. Tosan Ricketts has put in a good shift. He doesn't mind getting back defending, the man who Had an excellent chance for Canada in the first half, based on the right-hand side, predominantly during this match. Torres gets the ball from Dempsey. Here comes the cross. Aino's battling with Gomez. McKenna dwells on the ball on the edge of the area a little bit there, Will Johnson, but gets away with it. Foul by Ocean on Carlos Bocanegra. Another opportunity for the United States maybe to get the ball into the penalty area, but they take it quickly, and there's a sign of a first USA substitution. Bradley into Dempsey. Nice cushioned header from Edgar back to his goalkeeper, Lars Hirschfeld. It's an interesting one, Kyle. Oguchi Onyewu. Struggled a little bit against Brazil the other night. Gave away a penalty in the opening 10 minutes.
Well, they've got Altidore and Gucci Onyewu up, and you wonder if it's a straight swap with Herculez Gomez, but at this point, you'd figure he'd leave Herculez up there with his offensive abilities, his goal-scoring abilities, and maybe bring out a midfielder, try to get a little more of an attacking formation out there.
Here's Will Johnson. Spreads the play skillfully to Rickett. Wonderful weight on that ball. Space here for Edgar. Closed down by Bradley. Outside of the right boot. Header comes in from Ledgerwood. Far post. Great D. Rosario. Offside. It wouldn't have counted. And the referee has not allowed the United States to play the advantage in that situation. They've got to take a free kick from the ground, which Tim Howard does. Josie Altidore and Oguchi Onyewu are poised for action here at BMO Field. Dempsey. Castillo. Torres. Dempsey can turn into space. Followed by Ricketts. Again, tireless work from Ricketts. Foul by Ledgerwood. And Clint Dempsey has remained on the ground. Untidy challenge from Ledgerwood.
Well, he does get a little bit of the ball, but he gets plenty of Clint Dempsey at the same time. Clint Dempsey's so good at this move at full speed, cutting that ball under his plant foot, changing direction right here. He reaches his foot out, and Ledgerwood has to go through Clint Dempsey to get contact with the ball. Definitely a foul in that area.
So off comes Carlos Bocanegra for a well-earned rest. He handed the captain's armband to Steve Cherundolo. And on comes Oguchi Onyewu. This could be a big 28 or so minutes in Onyewu's international career. Jose Torres has made way for Josie Altidore to come in to earn his 47th cap as well. 13 goals so far at international level for Altidore. His club, AZ Alkmaar from the Netherlands, refused to release him earlier in this camp. So this is his first action of this particular period of play. This is a free kick opportunity. It's Clint Dempsey, and it's just over the bar. Score from a free kick again for Fulham in the last EPL season. He's added that to his repertoire, and he wasn't far away, Kyle.
Well, yeah, from this area, it's either his top spinner or curling one into the corner. He elects to go with the curler, just getting under it, hitting it over the bar, but didn't miss by much.
US Soccer on the NBC Sports Network is presented by the amazing picture quality of Panasonic Viera HD TVs. Good ball by McKenna out of the defence. The Canada captain is Jazic. Battling for that left back berth for Canada with Klukowski, who plays his soccer in Turkey. Here comes de Guzman. Not too much in terms of support. He goes for the back post. Will Ricketts keep that in? In fact, it's Castillo who will concede the throw in. Only Ocean to aim for there for Julian de Guzman. Well tidied up by Castillo.
Well, with Torres out, Herculez Gomez has moved over to that left side of the field. And Clint Dempsey playing underneath Josie Altidore.
Cross comes in. Goodson with the left-footed clearance. Castillo with the header. Canada preparing their first substitute of the night. Ledgerwood. De Guzman checks to the right-hand side. Fullback Edgar is there. Keeps the ball in play. Wins a throw-in for the home team, Canada. And it's Jermaine Jones who's on the floor at the moment, taking a blow to the face by the looks of things. A concerned-looking Jürgen Klinsmann. Let's take a look.
He takes a hand right there in the face.
Ledgerwood is the perpetrator. Substitution then for Canada. On comes Simeon Jackson for Olivier Ocean. Put a good shift in tonight, Ocean. Jackson, an EPL player with Norwich City.
Well, speed for speed.
Scored 3 EPL goals. Norwich finished in 12th place in the EPL this season. Having been promoted, he scored 13 at the second level in their promotion season the year before. Straight in on the action. Oguchi Onyewu with the header as a shot comes in from Ledgerwood. And it's a good save by Tim Howard down to his right-hand side. Releases Donovan. Jermaine Jones making a darting run ahead of him down the right-hand side. But Donovan goes back to the now captain, Cherundolo.
We haven't seen a lot of interchanging from the United States, and that's one thing Jürgen Klinsmann was stressing to us the few times we've talked to him before these games is he doesn't want to get caught up in formations. He wants to see a lot of interchanging. He wants to see how they can unsettle teams and unbalance them, and they haven't consistently unbalanced this Canada side. And you have to give credit to Canada. They've made it very difficult for the United States to find those little spaces to play.
Towering header by Andre Hainaut above Jermaine Jones, who climbs to his feet. Donovan trying to find Cherundolo, unsuccessful. Will Johnson, De Guzman, Jazic, an MLS trio. Here's another one, Dwayne De Rosario. Working against Cherundolo here. Simeon Jackson, a live wire. Julian De Guzman, shot comes in. Didn't quite catch it, straight at Tim Howard. Fine piece of play. Nice football from the Canadians.
We're starting to find Dwayne De Rosario in one-on-one situations wide. The more they can do that, the more effective they're going to be in that final third.
You have to go all the way back to 1985 for the last Canada win over the USA, 2-0 in Vancouver. And here come the USA Altidore, trying to get on the end of that pass from Clint Dempsey. Hirschfeld was out smartly. De Rosario immediately surrounded by 2 red and white hoop jerseys. Nicely played to Jackson. Good solid challenge that time by Goodson. Got the ball. It was fair. Canadian fans don't like it, but that was good old-fashioned defending by Clarence Goodson. And away goes Altidore. Gomez in the penalty area. Clint Dempsey lurking. Goes back to Castillo. Here's Michael Bradley. Jermaine Jones. Good pressing once again by Canada, forcing the US back into their own half. Onyewu. Bradley again. And they've broken up yet another attack. Simeon Jackson having a run here. He'll have a go, and it's just over the bar. He was surrounded by 4 defenders, Simeon Jackson. He saw Tim Howard perhaps a touch off his line, and he tried his luck.
Well, a bad place to give that ball away. Too predictable from the United States. Great back heel from De Guzman. And Simeon Jackson runs around that one a little bit. He wants to curl it into that far post. Tries to run around it so he can shape his body to curl it towards that far post. Just got under it as it bobbled up a little bit in the end. Yeah, the United States are predictable out of this 4-4-2. We talked about the interchanging, but also when against Scotland in the 4-3-3, you had Maurice Edu sat in that hole, and that gave Jermaine Jones and Michael Bradley so much freedom to commit to the attack, to get forward, to get into dangerous positions. And most of the game, Jermaine Jones and Michael Bradley have been flat 10 yards right in front of their back 4.
There was just a tremendous attacking balance to the team that night, wasn't it? Albeit against a poor Scotland side. Brazil, obviously, provided much more of a threat on Wednesday night. But the support for those strikers hasn't been there tonight from that US midfield.
Well, they haven't been able to get enough from Landon Donovan and didn't get enough from Torres when he was out there. And through the transition, Torres and Landon Donovan were so effective. And in this game, they've been wide. They've collected the ball with their backs to the goal. They've collected the ball 50, 60 yards from the attacking goal and haven't been able to get in those dangerous positions to dart forward.
Will Johnson takes the free kick quickly. Ricketts cushions it for Edgar. Simeon Jackson's in the box. I don't think that was a shot from Edgar. It was wide anyway. Goal kick.
But just as we talk about it, Maurice Adu is jogging right by my podium, heading over to the midfield line.
Here's Cherundolo. Castillo forward into the penalty area. Well read by McKenna. Ricketts once again back, helping out his defense in the right back position this time. Throw into the United States. As if on cue, Kyle, to your left-hand side, it appears that Maurice Adu is about to come in. He's got his kit on, ready for action. Big favourite here in Toronto, where he started his professional career. Here's Cherundolo. He'll have a low drive. It was a good one. Plenty of power in that. Not Haino off his feet. Donovan, a bit more urgency from the US. Floats it in. Hirschfeld calls off McKenna and makes the grab. So there's Maurice Adu. John! We'll wait until we find out who he's going to replace, because Carl, that will tell us about the tactics in the last 20 minutes or so, won't it?
Yeah, I would imagine whatever the substitution is, they're moving into a 4-3-3. So maybe it's taking out Herculez Gomez, or maybe even taking out Landon Donovan at this point, trying to get that three in the middle to free up everyone else around the field.
Altidore clips it across, jazzing with the header. De Guzman immediately put under pressure by Jones. Nicely played by Julian de Guzman. Ledgerwood. Now Will Johnson. Simeon Jackson making some darting runs ahead of Will Johnson. Here comes the ball into the penalty area. Held up in the turf, but well read by Tim Howard. Castillo. Bradley. Here's Cherundolo. Pedro Pacheco is at the bottom of your screen, number 16, waiting to come into the game. Nick Ledgerwood will be the man making way at the next stoppage of play. Ledgerwood had that goal ruled out for a mysterious foul in the first half, so we'll have to wait for his first international goal.
He had a good performance, covered so much ground, made it very difficult on the United States midfield, and then joined the attack. Good night.
Pacheco is a defensive midfielder, plays for Santa Clara in the Portuguese second division, a team from the Azores, the islands in the Atlantic Ocean, 930 miles west of Portugal. That's an outpost. Landon Donovan will make way from Maurice Adu. So no 50th goal yet in international colours for Landon Donovan. Here comes Adu to earn his 35th cap.
You can see him put up the three. They're going. He put three fingers up. Just communicated to Michael Bradley and Jermaine Jones. We're going with three in the midfield. And that's going to free up Jermaine Jones and Michael Bradley to get a little further up the field, and also let Clint Dempsey not have to come back and take care of any defensive responsibility.
So maybe it'll lead to fireworks in the last 17 minutes here at BMO Field in Toronto. This international friendly celebrating the Canadian Soccer Association's Centennial. The two sides first met in 1925. They've met 30 times down the years. It's 0-0. Pacheco, Ricketts, de Guzman, Pacheco again. De Guzman is dispossessed by Michael Bradley, but it's a throw-in to Canada. Michael Bradley's father, Bob, the former coach of the United States, of course, now coach of Egypt. And ball against Will Johnson. And Egypt beat Mozambique 2 days ago, 2-0 in a World Cup qualifier, and a game played behind closed doors in an empty stadium by order of FIFA and the Egyptian Interior Ministry after a riot in a stadium in Port Said in February led to the deaths of 70 fans in Egypt. Michael Bradley was telling us yesterday that his father told his players in the locker room before the game, the stands are empty, but 90 million people are with you. Inspiring words from Bob Bradley, and a 2-0 victory. So their qualification campaign for the World Cup underway with a victory. Pacheco seen a lot of the ball since coming onto the field. Jazic and Edu battling away. Edu is back at BMO Field, and he's penalised for a foul on Jazic. Number 1 pick in the 2007 MLS Super Draft for Toronto FC. He spent the last 4 years with Glasgow Rangers. Opportunity here for Canada. Tim Howard orchestrating his defence. Final 15 minutes here at BMO Field. Dwayne De Rosario will take it. Flat service, flicked header by Haino. In fact, it's McKenna, excuse me, over the bar. Looked like a training ground routine. Not this time for the captain of Canada. Edu. Now Cherundolo. Friday, the big day from Toronto to Tampa for the United States. Antigua and Barbuda, the first of possibly 16 World Cup qualifiers. Then June the 12th, the following Tuesday, at Guatemala in Guatemala City. The campaign resumes September the 7th in Kingston, Jamaica. I'm a little surprised that the 2 toughest road games are games 2 and 3. When the draw is made for the World Cup groups, it's a corner conceded by Canada. They sit down and they lobby the football associations and thrash out a schedule. And I'm surprised that the US allowed the first 2 road games to be against the 2 toughest teams in the group. But they'll be confident they can get results that they need. Imperative that they start strongly against Antigua and Barbuda on Friday. Corner number 7 for the United States. Michael Bradley will take it. Will we see the first goal of the evening in Toronto? Bradley, arm raised, right-footed, into the area. Edgar with the header. McKenna clears. Simeon Jackson, he's got pace. Pacheco is the man darting down the centre of the field, and now De Rosario has joined the party, and it's a free kick conceded by Jermaine Jones. Foul on Simeon Jackson. And it's a yellow card against Jermaine Jones. What were we saying earlier? 6 yellows in 17 caps for the United States. That's 7 in 18.
Well, in live, this didn't look like a foul. Bad touch there, and actually, Simeon Jackson kicks the back of Jermaine Jones. Referee gets that one wrong.
More a tangle of legs there, Kyle. Will Johnson with the free kick. His grandfather, Brian Birch, played in an FA Cup final victory for Bolton Wanderers over the mighty Manchester United. Curls it in. Good defending by the United States. Cherundolo was there.
The set pieces have been so difficult tonight, more for the offensive players to time the win, to try to find that ball and find the path. A lot of players you see running past the ball and having to try to back up and get a touch on it.
Jackson has been very lively, the number 10 for Canada, since coming onto the field. Gomez back defending. Now Cherundolo. Aguchi Onyewu. It's his 64th cap tonight. Now Michael Bradley. Licensed, you'd think, to get forward as often as he can in the final 10 minutes or so. Not this time, though, for the United States. There's De Rosario. Plenty of running left in his legs. Having a go at Cherundolo. He's round Edu. Pacheco was the intended recipient of that pass. It wasn't weighted satisfactorily by De Rosario. But We'll see a couple more substitutions for the United States momentarily. And here we go. Big opportunity here for Chris Wondolowski. He'll come in for Hercules Gomez. Wondolowski, the San Jose Earthquake striker in Major League Soccer. He scored 45 goals in 70 MLS appearances since the start of the 2010 season. 11 in 10 games this season. We await his first international goal. This is his 8th cap. Like-for-like swap as well. Cherundolo makes way for Michael Parkhurst. We saw that substitution made against Brazil on Wednesday. A 13th cap for Parkhurst, who's just won the championship in Denmark for Nordsjælland. Goodson and Jackson tussling away. Johnson to de Guzman. Ante Jazic. De Rosario. Andre Haino. American fans in good voice here at BMO Field to urge their team on to a late winning goal. Dempsey. Front two at the moment of Chris Wondolowski and Jose Altidore. Edgar Castillo nudging forward on the left-hand side. But it's Dempsey again who takes the ball off on Yewu. Into the feet of Adu, but he was challenged immediately by Will Johnson. Julian de Guzman. Simeon Jackson has got his arm raised. As has Ricketts on the right-hand side. Nudging forward is Edgar. De Guzman again. Maybe the home side could sense something here. A long 14-match run without a victory over the United States. Possibility here for Jones. Pulled back by Will Johnson. And that'll be a yellow card. Very demonstrative referee Morales. I think he managed to give Jones a bit of a telling off there as well for something. I'm in charge, I think, is the message.
Well, that attack for Canada stalled out a little bit. They had some openings, they had some options to play positive, and they put their foot on the ball, played negative. The United States got back, got in place. Then Johnson taking too long on the ball. Jones doing a good job of intercepting that one. Here comes the United States back at them.
Bradley searching for a target. In the end, he goes short to Parkhurst. Wondolowski is showing, but not good enough from Parkhurst this time. Haino. Jazic, intercepted by Parkhurst, makes amends, but now it's De Rosario. Onyewu is penalised. The foul on Pacheco. Free kick taken quickly. Jackson and Goodson in a physical battle. Came off Goodson last, so he had to concede the throw in.
Goodson's had a strong game. Yeah, talking about sustained focus, he's been in the right place at the right time the majority of the time and come up with some crucial interceptions and has been a beast in the air all game long.
Who's your centre-back against Antigua and Barbuda on Friday then alongside Bocanegra?
Yeah, you would figure at this point it's got to be Clarence Goodson and Carlos Bocanegra in there.
Castillo, will he be left back? Will Johnson be fully recovered from that calf injury? Strong challenge again from Will Johnson. Here's Michael Bradley. Double substitution about to be made for Canada. Dempsey. Pacheco. Takes the ball from De Rosario. Canada not committing too many bodies forward at this late stage of the game. De Rosario, that's a bit of magic from him. Jazic, into the area it goes towards Ricketts. It's a header clear by Onyewu. Johnson with the volley. Goodson with the block. De Guzman. Pacheco again. Jones was standing ball watching a little there.
Yeah, the United States look tired. There's some fresh legs out there, but the majority of the players out there have played a lot of minutes, and it's showing right now.
McKenna into the area. They've been training twice a day. They haven't had a day off yet, Jürgen Klinsmann was telling us. After a long season for a lot of these guys over in Europe and various places in the world. Here's Jones forward onto the long ball. Jazic with the header. No foul, says the referee, and Hirschfeld can collect. Game becoming a little stretched. I think Jones wanted to make amends for that error a few moments ago. Jacob with the ball with the outside of his boot to Simeon Jackson, having a run here at Goodson. Goodson allows him the byline, slides in, concedes the corner.
Well, Goodson's become such a smart defender over the years. His experience overseas has made up for any of the difficulties he has with the speed of the game. He thinks so quick now, and that's what you get at that top level. You learn how to think quick as a defender, and he's showing it.
Off comes Tosan Ricketts. I think he's had a really good game tonight. Very quick player. Had a good chance in the first half. Appears to be limping as well. Ian Hume will replace him from Preston North End in the English 3rd Division. He spent most of his career at the 2nd level in England. 5 international goals for Ian Hume. Scored in that 2007 Gold Cup semi-final. And you'll see the scar on his head. Suffered a terrible head injury in 2008. Playing against a team called Sheffield United. Missed 10 months. And this is a big moment as well for the man, or the boy, should I say, they call Pitbull. Samuel Piet, 17 years old. What a moment for him, replacing Julian de Guzman for his first international appearance. Corner kick taken to the back post. Andre Haino was the closest to it. He'll keep the ball in play. Cross comes over. Clearance by Parkhurst. Good strength by Onyewu. Altidore on the left-hand side. It'd have been Wondolowski. Challenged by McKenna. Approaching the final 3 minutes then of this international friendly. Canada 0, the USA 0, and a final substitution to be made by Canada.
Well, on that last recovery run from Ante Jazic, he immediately looked over at the bench and signaled to be taken out. The 36-year-old has been strong tonight. Good performance, getting up and down the flank, good defensively.
And in comes Mike Lukowski, a 35th cap for him. Plays for Manisaspor in Turkey, 30 years old. Sadly for him, his side lost their last 6 matches of the season. Dempsey with the attempt, and they were relegated to Division 2 in Turkey. What about Clint Dempsey's night tonight, Kyle?
He's tried to find the game. He's withdrawn. He's come into the midfield. He's created some good opportunities. But for a player like Clint Dempsey, he needs more chances in the final third. You want to see him sit up there and wait for the game to come to him at times. Just didn't get enough looks.
Ian Hume in pursuit. Tim Howard out of his goal. First header for Klukowski. De Rosario. Inside of Parkhurst he goes towards Pacheco. Hume's in the centre, Jackson in the centre as well. There's a third corner of the match for Canada. Not a great deal of height in this new front line for Canada with Hume and Jackson, but forward come the centre-backs as they sense perhaps an opportunity, he certainly does, Stephen Hart, of a late winning goal inside the final 2 minutes. De Rosario with the corner. To the back post it goes. Altidore back defending. Edge of the area, McKenna. Altidore gets it clear. Not entirely, though. Johnson. Now Klukowski. Maurice Edu can just calm things down. Jones. Switches the play, Castillo. Super ball by Jermaine Jones. Now Dempsey. Bradley. Impetus has just gone out of the attack slightly. Edu. Parkhurst. Jones has stayed forward. Altidore up there. They've gone back to walking pace inside the final minutes of the 90. The United States are happy with 0-0 here. Onyewu, Castillo. Michael Bradley. Jones had spotted the forward run of Michael Parkhurst. Thoughts going into Antigua and Barbuda on Friday then, Kyle?
Well, it's got to be the formation change. You know, in the first two games, great result against Scotland, and even in the second game against Brazil, some of their best soccer came out of a 4-3-3 with three central midfielders, Maurice Edu, Jermaine Jones, and Michael Bradley. You have to think this attempt to try to play a 4-4-2, to try to only play with two central midfielders didn't really work out. And I would think Jurgen Klinsmann goes back to the way they played the two previous games.
The Antigua and Barbuda squad. Sorry, Kyle.
No, the other part about that is some of the best chances in the Scotland game came from pressuring out of a 4-3-3. Yeah, they got that first chance out of pressuring that back four with three players.
Lovely skill by De Rosario. Johnson into the penalty area. Hume creating havoc in there. He's a real nuisance. Johnson realised he was in an offside position, left it to Hume, and that allowed Parkhurst to get back and defend. Slightly rough challenge at the back of Wondolowski by Haino, not spotted by the referee. On we go. We'll have 3 minutes of stoppage time. We're into that now. Free kick to Canada. Foul by Goodson on Ian Hume. Just to finish that point, Antigua and Barbuda have been training in Bradenton, Florida over the past week or so, preparing for their World Cup qualification campaign. It would be a mighty shock if they were to get anything in Tampa. The USA, though, need to take care of business. De Rosario. Johnson had an excellent second half. De Rosario into the penalty area. De Rosario past Parkhurst. Lucas comes in. Oh, Jackson has missed an absolute sitter. 2 yards out by the near post, and he has put it wide. What would have been a winning goal for Canada to end this horrible run against the USA.
Have to finish that. Left foot, no need to try to open up that right foot. Put your left foot right there and put it in. Tries to back himself up and see if he can't open up his right hip and let it just hit off his right foot and go in, but Dwayne De Rosario puts that in a perfect place where he can just come across it with the left, send it far post. Tim Howard's nowhere to be found.
Here comes the answer from the United States. Altidore. Jones showed a little bit too much of that to De Rosario, but still manages to work it out to Parkhurst. 4 red and white hoop shirts in the box. Parkhurst buys himself a yard. Johnson again with the header clear. Goodson in. Was he fouled by Hume? Yes, says the referee. Ian Hume's not happy. A crowd of 15,241. A majority of them not happy with the decision. I think it was a nudge in the back. And an opportunity for the United States to steal victory. They're used to heartbreak against the USA or Canada. Will more salt be rubbed into the wounds here in Toronto? Michael Bradley with his right foot. In it goes. Header comes in. What a save! Hirschfeld has preserved the draw for Canada with a spectacular save.
Perfect ball in for Bradley, but the power generated on that. Not only is that a great save because of the reaction, how quickly he gets his hand up, but to keep his hand strong to make sure that it doesn't buckle and let that ball go into the back of the net. Tremendous save.
Looked to me like Clarence Goodson with the header. Corner comes in. Goodson out of the box this time to Castillo, headed back in, and that's full time.